Hi, I'm Mike Haduck, and today we're going to talk about my real estate experience, Part 3, Florida. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know I moved to Florida, and I've already had my driver's license down here over 3 years. And I sold my house a year and a half ago up in Pennsylvania. Sold everything, and I moved down here, and I'm going to tell you what's going on in Florida. I have a lot of experience in Florida because my dad in the late 50s, he worked at Cape Canaveral, which is Cape Kennedy right now, and he was laying blocks, and we were down here for 3 years, and we have some relatives here. And I used to go down the Keys, and I lived on a sailboat every winter. I got about a full year living on a sailboat, I figure. And then I came where I am now. I had a friend who had a sailboat, and when I made the plan to move down here, came down and visited him. It was an RV park, actually, a double wide park. You could put like houses on it, small houses if you want it. And I didn't like it at first. I had my different visions of what it was going to be like down here. But I got to know some of the people and looking around and see what's going on. And that's what we're going to talk about. That's the biggest thing. Biggest reason anybody moves to Florida, in my opinion, it's the weather. 96% of the time you got warm weather. You might have to in the winter wear like a sweatshirt, maybe with a hood and some jeans, but 95% about the time it's nice down here. You get your little hurricanes and you get your afternoon showers in the summer, and that's it. First of all, there's no state income tax. Living here is cheap. You don't get all them nuisance taxes. In Pennsylvania, you get all kind of nuisance tax. The sewer line tax, the rain tax, this tax, that tax. Down here you don't get it, not where I'm living anyway. If you have a house and you own the property, you can get a homestead exemption. And your taxes are low. They'll cut your taxes way down. You go bankrupt, they can't take your house off you. They got a lot of neat common sense laws down here. I really like the way they run Florida. So right now it's August 1st, 2025, and basically the real estate market has been collapsing. But on the other side of the issue, it's also went way up during COVID. Everybody was moving to Florida. Everybody's moving to Florida. And then right now everybody seems to be moving out of Florida. And all the homes are on the market, and they're over 90 days, most of them. And there's a couple things that caused that. First of all, they had a couple of hurricanes on the West Coast. And one of the things that happened is the rivers came up and the tides came up and they flooded the houses and it blew the roofs off. And you go to the beaches, all the boats are wrecked. It did some damage, and they had 2 of them. And I have a cousin down here, blew all the shingles off the roof. Now, the 2 neighbors, nothing happened. Nothing happened, just his roof. Then it rained on it, and then it ruined all the sheetrock, and they came in and they ripped the sheetrock out. And then he said, when are you going to put it back? They said, oh, we don't do that. We just rip it out. Then they came and they put a big canvas over the top of it. And then he got the roof back on, but then the insurance company went out of business. So then he had to go through the state. He had to put his own money up to get the sheetrock back in and everything up and running again. It was a disaster. It went on for a full year. So if you're going to buy into a big property and spend a lot of money, you're taking a chance. And because of all that, all the insurance rates went way up, way up. And some of them doubled and some of them tripled. And if you have a bank loan, you have to have insurance. And it's bankrupting a lot of people. Now, if you own your own home, well, you don't really have to have insurance. And a lot of people, even in the park I am, they don't have insurance. Maybe the land's worth $30,000. And in my park, what happens is I own the property. It's about $150 a month. And that pays for my garbage. It pays for my sewer. It pays for my water, and it pays for the grass cutting and all the amenities like the pool and everything. Look at this, a cat, girlfriend's cat. But other places, they own the property and you own the house. And they can raise it up to $600 a month. I'm paying like $150 and I own it. And some people are willing to pay it because they like the place they're living at. It all depends on what you want to do. But I'm living in the cheap. I don't think it costs me more than $4,500 to live here for a year, including my electricity, my taxes, my fees, and then my electric. That's probably the only thing I got to pay for, and the internet. So another thing, interest rates went up to 7%, 8%. When I took my house loan out, Carter was in, 8.25% I had to pay, but I only borrowed $12,000. Still felt like $1 million at that time. Another thing happened in Florida is they had a Surfside building collapse. And here's a little picture of it. Once that collapse happened, they came out with all these new laws. You have to, if you have 3 living units, 1, 2, 3, you have to get an inspection so many years by an engineer or architect. And a lot of these big condo associations, big high-rise buildings, the repairs go into millions of dollars, and then they got to assess the condo owners. So personally, if you ask me, I wouldn't recommend living in one of those big high-rise condos. I think you're going to get hit if you do that. 70% of all new houses that are being built are in condo associations right now. And 38% are already in a condo association right now. Building has been going crazy. They are building everywhere, and in my opinion, it's overbuilt. And I told you one time before, if you go up anywhere between Naples up past Tampa, or you go down towards the Keys, Miami, all the way up past Vero Beach, I said there's 3 lanes of traffic. Oh, I'm wrong. There's 5 lanes of traffic. And every morning you get the traffic reports. That's how bad Florida got. Now, some of the things that I wouldn't do if I was going to buy in Florida, and I see them over there, and they're building 3, 4, 5-story condo units out of wood. I would never build anything out of wood in Florida. We have a clubhouse, and it's all block. And it's on a big slab. But right in the middle, they just had, the divider walls. And they got termites. Termites are a big problem down here. And what happens is you get the termites and you got to cover the whole building with a big blanket, and then they got to kill it. And unless you keep it up every year, you're going to get them back. So I would not buy a building that's made out of wood. That's number 1. Number 2. I would not buy a building that has shingles on it. I would buy a building that has a metal roof on it. And now those tiles that they put on it, Spanish tiles, I never was involved in that, but I don't even like that. If you get a metal roof, it's going to last you tons of time. You can always paint it. But the insurance companies, after 15 years, they don't want to insure a shingled roof, but they'll keep insuring a metal roof. And there's people who go out and get solars. Well, once you put the solar panels on top of a roof, insurance company don't want to insure that. And then the roof, you don't get no guarantee off of that. And you get a hurricane and they blow them all up. You got to put them back. I don't think that's worth it either. If I was going to buy into a building, a condo unit, I would make sure that the outside is made out of block. That's the only way I'd buy something down here. I would not come down here and buy a house and put money down with a builder. I mean, there's a lot of honest builders around, but there's a lot of dishonest builders around. And I heard a lot of horror stories. They'll start a building and they're using other people's money to get all the buildings going. At the end, they can't finish the last building. They go bankrupt, and you're without your money and without your house. I would buy turnkey. When I was flipping houses, 2 times I went around and I estimated what it would be to build get the excavator in there, go through the wiring. Dealing with inspectors are a big joke. Even down here, I've seen a few things that I question. I question the wood, you know what I mean? I question them the way they put pipes underneath the ground. I'm not a fan of that. I question, you go down there, you get a building permit, you don't get any privacy notice, you don't know if you're going to, if the other contractor knows what you're bidding, or if they're in cahoots. You don't get a consumer notice telling you all your rights, rules, and regulations and what you're supposed to do. And at the end, you're not going to get a full and complete inspection report unless you hire it. And then if something goes wrong, they throw their hands up. Oh, implied immunity. I'm under government immunity. I can't do it. I can't take responsibility for it. The old days, you had an architect and an engineer, or whoever you hired, or hired someone to watch the builder, and they would make sure everything's done right. But when you get these government guys in there, I've seen a lot of bad things. I even did a video. Can you trust a building inspector? There was a little French castle. It looks like a little French castle. Me and the girlfriend was looking at. And I was saying, boy, I'd like to build like that, you know. And the lady next door said, when we were looking at it, she came over, wanted to know what we were doing. And I was going to measure it up. And I said, well, I'm living in the RV park down here. And she goes, you're better off. By the bills and the taxes and everything, you're better off living simple. Because if my place blows away, and we've had tornadoes up the road here, I'm just going to get another one. That's it. I already own the property. Get a dumpster, rip it down, get another one. Now, my advice is, if you're going to come to Florida, and you just don't go and come down and buy a house. And I've heard of people doing that over the internet, and I heard horror stories about that. What I would recommend, don't buy a motorhome either. Get yourself a little tag-along. Brand new one. Coleman sells them $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. Come down and go to the different campgrounds. And then stay at this campground on this side of the lake, or go over towards Naples, stay there, and get in your little car, leave your camper in the camping area, go around and ask all these people and all these sites, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them, how much they're paying, what the fees are, do they like living there, what's for sale, can I look at something, and spend a month, or if you could come down for a couple of weeks, and then next year come down for another couple of weeks, and then look around. A lot of people just stay in a damn campground when they move down here, and they just figure, well, I'll keep the home up north, and then I'll just come down. You could put that camper in storage, then have them tow it on a lot, and spend your $400, $500, $600, $700, whatever they're charging you for a month, and you're better off. You don't have to worry about it breaking down. A little tow line. That's what I would do. And a lot of people come down and they bring their little camper down, and then if there's a hurricane, they hook it up and they pull it out of here. I had a sailboat. When I had the sailboat down the Keys, they called me up and said, the hurricane's coming, what do you want to do? I says, well, if it blows away, it blows away. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. And luckily, the hurricane went the other way, and I got away from it. But being older, you want to live more simple. You don't want to get involved in all kind of stuff. Like over there in Fort Myers, Cape Coral, they're going to be putting new lines in, water lines, and going off the old septic tanks and the old wells. And they're going to assess everybody $40,000 to do that. So do you really want to live in a big house? You know, when I was in the service, in the Navy, there was 3 bunks, one on the bottom, one in the middle, one on top. You first got in, you had to get in the top bunk, then it was the bottom bunk, and after you're there a while, you get the middle bunk. And everything I owned was in that bunk. It was like living on a submarine. So I don't need much, and I try to keep my life simple. And if you're I have a few things. I got a couple of guitars left, and I have an old car yet, and my stuff I got down here. But man, the simpler you live, the better off you are. And I even notice a lot of these people who have homes around here still have a camper on the site. And if a hurricane's coming, they'll take the camper and they'll leave. And after the hurricane's gone, they'll come back and they got something to live in. So there you go. So I'm Mike Haduck. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.